In tonight's in-depth report, getting to know Congresswoman Elise Stefanik. Growing up in the Albany area, her parents taught her that there were no limits to what she could do.
And in fact, the 30-year-old has kept that mentality each day in Congress, representing the 21st Congressional District. Jessica Layton made the trip to Washington, D.C. for a one-on-one with the youngest woman ever elected to Congress.
When Elise Stefanik was elected last November, the political world was watching. Because of her age and her ability to reach younger voters, she is seen as incredibly important to the future of the GOP. But she says that's not why she goes to work. Rather, it's for the people in the North Country, and she hopes to carve a path for more women while doing it.
I didn't come to Congress to be a backbencher. I came to Congress to be a leading voice.
A new voice, a fresh face in Washington. So fresh, Elise Stefanik doesn't always get by security on the first pass.
The Capitol Police didn't think I was a member of Congress.
It's one of the realities you face when you're the youngest woman ever elected to Congress.
The unique voice, and it gives me a platform that's different than when you look around the rest of Congress.
The Harvard and Albany Academy for Girls graduate made history on election night and has continued her work in the spotlight as a young Republican and role model for young women. She's been featured in Glamour and Marie Claire magazines, and her office fields frequent calls from women across the country inspired by her political work.
What do you tell a young girl or a young woman who still feels like politics in Washington is a man's world?
I think that we need more women in Congress. Women tend to be more bipartisan. We tend to be consensus builders.
Washington could use that. The government gridlock continues as the president butts heads with Congress on key issues like health care. Still, Stefanik says Washington is working better under a Republican-controlled House and Senate.
We've dealt with regulatory reform. We've passed tax extenders. We've passed energy policies.
Stefanik says for as much as she's really enjoyed hitting the ground running here in Washington, some of the accomplishments she's actually most proud of have come outside Capitol Hill. One of her priorities during the first 100 days was visiting Fort Drum, rallying support for the 10th Mountain Division, and making sure Congress understands the importance of that post to military readiness.
So even before I was sworn in, I fought for a seat on the House Armed Services Committee.
Another memorable experience, a congressional delegation visit to the Middle East.
I was also the only woman on the trip.
Back in her fifth-floor D.C. office, she admits being a freshman in Washington was a little bit like being a freshman in high school or college again.
If you were to give yourself an overall letter grade for this point in the first semester, what would you give yourself?
I think I would give myself an A-. There's always room for improvement.
With that said, she feels like she's off to a great start for the people of the 21st Congressional District.
I think that we've been effective, accessible, transparent, energetic, positive.
As for the Capitol Police,
they are getting to know me.
Good thing, because she plans on being here for a while.
Now, Stefanik is big into using social media to connect with constituents. She posts all of her votes on her Facebook page, and she also uses Instagram to let people know what she's doing every day. But she also reads the local papers, and she tries to respond to every letter to the editor with a phone call. So as you can imagine, that's made for some interesting reactions on the other end of the line. If you want to know more about Elise Stefanik, we've set up a really fun question and answer with her on our website that has nothing to do with politics. It's at WNYT.com. Reporting live, Jessica Layton, News Channel 30.